With CreateStudio, making professional videos is easy, even if you've never done it before. In our intuitive drag and drop editor, you can import media, add text, images, and audio, and enhance your videos with motion graphics, text presets, and much more. Effortlessly animate any layer in just one click, using our built-in motion presets. You can also create your own custom animations with advanced options and custom easing on our full-feature timeline. Build your own character explainer videos with premium 2D and 3D characters. Simply select a character, choose an action, and animate. Adjust the size of your video to fit social, mobile, and other popular formats. Once you're ready, publish your video in your preferred resolution. Creating incredible videos has never been easier. So whether you need a promotional video, a social story, or a gorgeous character explainer, CreateStudio is the perfect tool for both entrepreneurs and creators, giving you the flexibility to simply create.
In this video, you're going to learn how to create a new project. So first of all, simply click on Create New Project, give your project a name, and then you can select a resolution for your video. Now if you want a vertical video for mobile stories, simply select Stories. If you want a square video, select Facebook and Instagram, or you can select any of these other 16:9 standard ratios. You can also add a custom resolution by simply adding in your inputs in these fields here. Now you can adjust the background default color over here. Let's say we want to make it white, and click on Create Project Now. Okay, so this is the editor, and on the right hand panel you'll be able to see our project settings. Now to open these settings, if they're not currently open, click on the settings icon over here, and you can go through and adjust the resolution again if you want to adjust it. Let's say you want to make it a Facebook video. You can change the project name. You can also adjust the default background color. And we've got advanced settings over here, so things like autosave. So if you want your project to autosave, simply turn it on. You can adjust the time frames that it saves upon, so let's say 2 minutes. You can adjust the default background color of the canvas, so if you want to make it lighter, this is a really helpful tool. And you can also adjust whether you want to turn on or off the guidelines on the canvas on the timeline, as well as the snapping on the timeline and on the canvas. So if I turn those on, like so, and I'll add a shape. Let's make the shape black. You'll see when I come close to the lines or other objects, you can see that the guidelines and the snapping is in place. So those are the main project settings inside CreateStudio. In this video, you'll learn how to create simple animations with SVG images. Okay, so I've just brought in an SVG image over here with 3 separate layers, and I'm going to drag and drop it onto the canvas, and I'm going to select to bring it in as elements. Okay, so if I just zoom in over here, I can see my separate layers, and if you like, you can go through and rename them. So let's call this one right, this one called middle, and this one called left. Okay, so you can go through and see them over here. Now you can also go through and click on your SVG shape and click on this color over here, and you can adjust the colors as you like. You can add gradients to them as well if you want to make it like so. So let's go and bring that up like that. So now that I've created my design, I'll just drag these into the middle, and I'm going to create some animations for these. Now you could just go through and select a motion preset. Let's say, for example, scale up like that. And you've got an animation, and you could adjust the rotation point. So right now it's animating from the middle. If I brought it down like this and I selected the bottom, you'll be able to see that it grows up like so. Okay, so you can use these custom presets which speed things up a lot. You could also go through and use something like a distort, like this one for example. They look pretty cool like this, and probably adjusting the duration to make it a bit faster would look really nice. And you could apply the same animation to each of these layers. So let's go and grab this one. I think it was this one, or this one here, and I'll select this one and bring it up. Okay, so if I just go through and drag these over like so, Okay, and you probably want to go through and maybe offset the start point a little bit like this. You could play around with that. And again, you probably want to adjust the rotation point for these, each of the same elements, so that they do something like that, okay? So that's a way you can use motion presets to animate your SVGs. I'm just going to bring these up into the right order that I want to bring them into, and I'm going to zoom in a bit closer. And now what I can do is basically use custom animations to animate them a little bit differently. So if I click on the plus icon, I'm going to animate the scale for this one. I'm going to drag this across over here, and what I'm going to do is set the start scale. So what I'm going to do is go to settings, I'm going to click on the lock icon to open it, and I'm going to adjust this this size over here. So I could either just drag like this down, or I could use the Y and just drag this down as well like that. So it starts at 0, and now it's going to end at the point over here like that. Okay, so the same thing would apply for this one. I'm just going to select it. I'm going to go click on the add animation. I'm going to select scale, just bring this over like so, and I might just go drag this down like that, and you'll be able to see I've got that animation, and then I'll do the same thing over here. Now what I could do is just create one animation and duplicate the 3 layers. That would have been a lot faster, but let me just bring the scale and do this separately as well. So I'll just bring this down, and now you're about to see we've got a really nice looking animation. Now another thing you can do is adjust the easing with custom animation. So you can either right click and click on easing to bring up the easing panel, or you could select the animation and click on the easing icon over here. And this is where you can see the type of easing that you want to use. So you can preview different easings, and these will just make your animation look a little bit different. So if this one, like this one for example, will make it overshoot. So if I just add that same animation to each of the layers, let's go with back, and this one again easing, and I'll select back. So if we play this through, you can see it goes up and then comes down a bit. So again, you can play around with these easings. We've got some really fun ones like elastic, and we plan to add a lot of other extra ones that you can use as well. So yeah, that's how you can go through and create some really cool looking animations using SVG shapes inside CreateStudio. In this video, you'll learn how to import media into CreateStudio. So on the left-hand side, you'll see a media panel, and if you click on the plus icon, you can bring in any media into CreateStudio. So I'm just going to select everything here and click on open. And you'll be able to see that we've got an SVG. This one's a compound shape. We've got a video. You can also preview your videos up here. This one's a SVG with multiple layers. We've got image, logo, and another image. So what you can do now to customize your content is simply drag and drop it on the canvas over here. Now because this is a compound shape, it means that I can go through and adjust the color of this SVG, and you can go through and select gradients, radial, linear, or just a simple fill color, and really customize your SVGs. And over on the right panel, you can go through and obviously add up some really nice animations like so. Okay, also we've got this graph over here. So this one's a SVG image with multiple layers. So if I drag and drop this one over here, you see we have the options to import it as an image. If I do that, it will just be one flat image like this, and you won't be able to adjust the colors. If I go through and grab it again and import it as elements, then it imports the 3 separate elements, and we can go through and customize the design and add animations to them separately like so. Okay, so that's how you import media into CreateStudio. In this video, you'll learn how to create a simple looping animation inside CreateStudio. So first of all, I'm just going to go and grab a shape. So I'm going to go grab this circle shape, make sure it's centered, and I might go and change the color. Let's give it a nice gradient style, like so. Okay, so now I've got my shape. What I want to do is basically create an animation. So I'm going to go on the timeline and drop down the animation options and click on plus, and I'm going to select scale. Okay, so I'm basically going to go through and create a looping animation, making the circle go bigger and smaller in a continual loop. So what I need to do is set the start property or the end property. So I'm going to go and change the start property and make it smaller. So I'm just going to bring it down like so, maybe to 39. And now you can see that it's added that animation. So it's gone from this point to that point, okay? I might make it a little bit smaller actually, maybe let's say 30. And what I'm going to do is adjust the easing of this animation. I'm going to select both, so it's power to both. This is going to make it a lot smoother when it transitions. So this is the first animation like that. And what I'm going to do is simply right click, duplicate reverse, and I'm going to do this as many times as I want it to loop. And it basically recreates the same animation going up and down, okay? So if I preview this through, and you see how easy and simple that looks, and it just looks really, really good, and you can quickly create these looping animations. We're going to be also adding in looping animations here, some presets, but that's how you can go through and create a really nice looking looping effect inside CreateStudio. Hi, in this video, you're going to learn how to create a walking sequence with a character inside CreateStudio. So I'm just going to go grab my character and drag and drop her onto the canvas. And what I'm going to do is select a different action. So I'll select the action, go to the drop down menu and go to walk in. Okay, so now I've got this nice walking in kind of animation, but we also want her to move while she's walking. So to do that, I'm first going to just crop this action and make it about 2 seconds long, because it's quite a long walking sequence and I want it to appear a bit faster. I'm just going to zoom in a bit closer into the timeline so you can see it a bit better. And now what I'm going to do is on the right hand panel click on motion and go to in and slide right. Okay, and if I just drag this up a bit to make it a bit longer, I'm also going to right click and disable fade so that she appears, as she's walking. And if I just preview this, you can see we've got a really nice looking action. So I'm also going to click on add action and then add a new action. Let's say wave, like that. So once she appears, she's then going to wave and say hi to everyone. And one other thing as well that you might notice is that her starting point right now is on the screen, and you may not want her to start on the screen. So what you can do is with the animation selected, slide right, click on the settings panel, and you can just simply drag this over a little bit so you can adjust the starting point of the animation. So if we just preview this again, and that's how nice that looks, okay? What I'm also going to show you how to do is create custom animations. If you want it to make a walk off, you can do the same thing without, but let's go ahead and click on add action and go to walk out like this. And again, I'll just crop this so it's about 2 seconds long or so. I'll just zoom in a bit closer. Okay, so now she kind of turns, and at this point she starts walking. Okay, so at this point here, I'm just going to click on the plus button for animations, and I'm going to select position. Okay, so now we've basically activated the position animations, and we can adjust the start and end point of the action. Okay, so the start point is right here where she is, and I'm going to move the indicator to the end, and then I'm just going to simply drag her off. You could either go like this, or you could use these ones, maybe let's say 3,000 or so. But I'll just maybe make it a bit simple, just drag her completely off like this off the screen. Okay, so if we just go back over here, and if I just preview this, okay, so as you can see, the action was quite fast and it looked a bit abrupt. So what I want to do is just right click on this animation, go to easing, and what I'm going to do is just go with linear. Okay, so let's go with both linear, and let's just preview that. Okay, great. So now the easing is basically just making a fluid motion from start to finish. There's no different type of animation easing, so it just looks like a simple walking sequence like that. So that's how you can create walking sequences inside CreateStudio. Have a go and try it out for yourself. In this video, you're going to learn how to work with characters inside CreateStudio. So first of all, on the left-hand side panel, you'll be able to see we've got the studio builder over here. And what I can do is go over to backgrounds. I'm just going to go grab a background first of all to start my project. So I'm going to click on this gem, just drag and drop it onto the canvas, and you'll be able to preview your background. Okay, so you can go into the background by double clicking on it, and you can see the separate elements over here, and if you want to delete something or move something to a different position, you can do that. And they all have preset motion animations on them, so you can adjust them if you want it as well. You can just drop down over here and change the motion preset, or you can delete it. Okay, so that's the background. I'm just going to go back out of here. And what I'd like to do when you're creating your videos and you've got your background already set, a good thing to do is simply lock the background, and that means that when you're adding other elements on top, you won't be able to move the background, and it's kind of nice to have it all set in place like that. So let's go and grab a character. So I'm going to grab this girl over here and just simply drag and drop it onto the canvas. You can position it as you like. You can make it bigger or smaller. It's really that simple. So I'm just going to drag her over to the start, and you can see if I just play this through right now that we've got the background animating in, and we've got her in an idle kind of position. For these animated characters, for the supreme ones over here, these ones, they basically start in an idle position, and then they do the action and they go back into the idle position, meaning that you can add multiple actions and it will work in a seamless kind of loop. So let's go ahead and create some actions. So first of all, if you haven't seen the actions, what you can do is simply drop down this over here, and you have two different lines. The first one is actions, and the next one is for animations. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on the actions in this demo. So simply click on the action. Once it's selected, you'll be able to see a drop down menu, and just drop it down and you can select an action for your character. So let's say we want to go with wave. Okay, and then what I can do is if I want to add another action, just simply click on add action, and let's go with dumbbells. Okay, so if I preview this, you can see we've got the wave action. It goes back to idle and then into the dumbbells and then back to idle. Okay, so that's how easy it is to go and work with your characters. If you wanted to actually go through and make her way from the left hand, what you can do is simply flip her, and you can see that it makes the actions now all go from the left hand side like that. So yeah, you can play around with these kind of things. So that's just a basic overview and intro into working with characters. In the following video, I'm going to show you how to create some animations as well with the characters, like things like walking from a certain position to another, and some other helpful tips. In this video, I'm going to run you through a quick basic outline of the timeline. So to add any media to your timeline, simply drag and drop it onto the canvas, and you'll see that it gets added directly onto your timeline. So we can then go through and zoom in and out of the timeline. Basically, wherever your time indicator is where the zoom will start going into. So you can see it zooms straight into where your time indicator is. So if you position that to the start, it will zoom in from there like that. Okay. Also over here, this is our layer. We can go through and rename this layer. So it says call this one logo, for example. I can hide the element from the canvas. I can then go ahead and show that. I can also lock the element so that now I can't select it. And this is great when you've got a whole bunch of elements on your canvas and you just want to work with certain ones without having them moved. If you already add your element in place, you can also hide your element from the timeline, and this is really helpful. Let's say, for example, you've got a whole bunch of layers. I'm just going to add a whole bunch of layers on here. So let's say you've got all these elements here and you've made your scene and you're happy with them, but you don't want to edit them anymore. So what you could do is you could either lock them all and then hide them, or you could just simply click on this icon here like this and select the layers that you want to hide from the timeline and click on this icon here, and you can see now that it's hidden these layers from the timeline, but it's still visible on the actual video. And this is just to help you to keep your timeline more neat and compact and organized. Okay, so if you want to see those layers again, you simply click on that icon, and if you want to unhide them from your timeline, just deselect those ones and you'll have to see you've got them back here again. Okay, so those are the main features in terms of operating the timeline. You can also drag your media, so if you've got images, you can go ahead and drag them as long as you like, resizing them basically like this. You can simply click on it and move it as well into the right order that you want it to appear on. And for your layers, you basically have an extra layer down here. If you drop it down, you can add animations. Okay, so you can add custom animations or motion presets that you can add, for example, slide right. like this. And you can adjust the duration of your animation by simply clicking and dragging like that. So if I delete this one, right click delete, I can go through and add a different animation, let's say scale, and I could then go through and make it smaller. You'll be able to see it animates like that. So there's another video where we go through more advanced animations and really go into animations, but this is just a quick demo of that. Okay. Also, if you've got all these tracks open, I'll just unhide these ones. So often, like when you're animating elements, you can see like we've got different tracks open, and it's quite big. Okay, so what you can do is collapse all these tracks by clicking on this icon here. Just collapse everything, and especially when you're trying to reorganize or rearrange things on the timeline, it's easier to drag and drop elements like this when the layers are collapsed. If they're all open like this, it's a little bit more difficult to position things. So if you want to move things up and down, just simply collapse it and then drag it like so. Okay. And yeah, that's about it in terms of the timeline. If you want to see more advanced options and animating, then go on to the next video and we'll go through animations on timeline. In this video, I want to show you how to edit templates that you bring in from the template library. So this template here has 5 shapes or so in the background. It's got a hand with a phone and some different elements on here. But right now, as you can see, you can't actually select the shapes. You can't adjust them. You can't select the hand. And the reason why is because we've locked them. And the reason why you can't see it right now on the timeline is because they've been hidden. Okay, and we do this to make it more simple for you to edit them. Elements that have animations and that don't really need to be changed, we basically lock them. But if you do want to see them and change them, you can often click on this icon and you'll see the hidden layers. Okay, so currently you've got the shapes locked. So if I unlock the shapes right now and I double click on them, I can go in here and I can make changes. I could change up the colors. Let's say I'll make this one white, for example, something like that. Then I could go back out of here into the main project. You can see it's been instantly updated like that. Okay. Also for this this hand, I can go through and change the video. So if I just select the video here and click on replace, I can go and grab a different video. Let's say, for example, this one here. And if I just play this through, you can see I've got my nice video screen added in there like that. Now another thing that you can do, for example, if your video is longer than the one that was previously, or you wanted to resize and make the video longer, so what you could do is just drag out these text layers and make them the same length as that video, like so. But then I also need to go through and unlock this and make sure that this is the same length as well. And I'll go through also with the audio. I'll probably make it the same length, and I'm going to unlock the hand, make it the same length. Now with these shapes, because they're in a group, we need to go into the group, and often by default you'll see like just the layers here like this. Okay, so you can see the shapes, but you can't see the actual other elements on the timeline. So it will make it a bit hard to actually resize to see to the same length as duration as the other elements. So we've added this option to show all layers. If you left click on there, now you can see all the layers outside of your group. Okay, so you can see kind of a faded example. And what you can do is, if I just zoom in a bit closer, I can go through and resize these layers. And with the timeline snapping and the guidelines, it really makes it easy to just go and drag out all these layers and make sure that they're the same duration as the entire video. So if I go back out of this now, you have to see that the shapes have been put into the same size. And the same thing I'll do with this App Store button. I'll just go through and drag these all out. Just make sure that this is selected so that you can see all the layers outside of it. Okay. So if we go back over here, now you can see that everything's been updated and made the same duration as the video. I could go through and collapse all these like so. And again, if I wanted to hide some layers, let's say I wanted to hide the audio track, and I just simply click on this icon. Now there's only 4 tracks on the timeline, but everything's visible on the actual video. So those are just some helpful tips in terms of editing. When you bring in some different templates, you may not be able to find certain elements. So just simply click on this icon. And again, when editing things, it's often quite helpful if you just, for example, these shapes, just maybe lock them and then they're no longer in the way. You do the same thing with the hand, and certain elements that you don't need to basically edit anymore, just lock them, and it just makes things a lot easier. Okay, so that's how to edit templates inside CreateStudio. In this video, you're going to learn how to create a really nice looking progress bar for your videos, and these are really popular for social media videos and video ads. So what we're going to do is first of all just delete that progress bar, and we'll go ahead and create it all from scratch. So I'm going to go over here and click on the shape layer and click on rectangle, and basically you want to create the shape that kind of same width of the video. So you can do that by simply click on fit to canvas and then just dragging it down like this, and then you could just use this icon to put it right to the bottom. If I just scroll in here a bit and kind of see it a bit closer, so you can see we've got our progress bar design, and we could also go through and change the color. So let's say we want to make it a nice gradient, so I'm going to go and make it a blue and a green, and you can do this obviously to your own kind of preference, however you like it. Maybe something like that, it's a bit better. Cool. So now that I've got the design, I'm going to just double click on here and type in progress bar, just so it's nice and neat. And I'm going to select the progress bar, and I need to go ahead and choose where I want the bar to animate from. So we want it to start from here and go all the way to the end. So I'm going to click on the rotation point and click on left over here, left center. And now the bar will animate from here to here. So let's drop down the animation options and click on the plus icon to add a custom animation. And I'm going to click on the scale property. Okay, so we basically want to animate the scale. So all we need to do is have the element selected and then go to scale and click on the lock icon, and then just bring the X scale down to 0. Okay, so now I'll show you what this looks like. Cool, so we've got the animation now. So what we're going to do is basically adjust the duration and the easing. So if I right click on this animation and go to easing, and we want to make sure that it's selected to both and linear, so that it just goes in one fluid motion. So there's no like fast burst and then it goes slow and fast, but we want it to just go one separate speed. Okay, so linear does that, and you want to make it on both in the in animation and the out animation. And then all you need to do is basically just drag this out to the duration of your video. And if I just go ahead and preview from the start, you can see that we've got a really nice timeline progress bar that goes the exact time of the video, just like so. So yeah, if your video was longer, what you could do is, or if it's even shorter, for example, or just make it a little bit shorter, you could just go ahead and resize that progress bar and also the animation. And you probably want to go ahead and just zoom in a bit closer, make sure you got the exact time, and just make sure that that's right, like so. And then if you play that through, you'll be able to see that it ends at the exact same time as your video, like so. Okay, and you probably, if your video was shorter, you would want to make sure that you resize your other elements as well, so that everything ends at the same point. Okay, like this. So that's just a quick way to do it. You can also create some extra kind of fun animations. This is just a little extra tip that you could do. So along with the progress bar, maybe you could have your own logo, or if you want, you could go and grab an emoji. So I'm going to go grab an emoji here, and let's say we'll get this cool dude guy, and I'll just bring him down here, scale him down, and place him, maybe place him about here also. And I'm just going to bring him out as well to the same length of the video. I'm going to go through and drop it down and click at add custom animation, and this time I'm going to create a position animation. Okay, so I've selected the position, and the starting point is at 0, and the position of the character is at 0. And now I want to go to the end of the animation and just basically bring him across to the end. So let's say 1100, or maybe even less. Yeah, maybe I'll bring him over like this, like so. Okay, and then I want to go through, make sure that the easing is both and linear, and just drag it out, make sure that it's at the exact same time as well as that. And if we play this through, you can see you've got a nice looking little emoji going at the same time. Maybe I'll make him a little bit like smaller maybe, and yeah, like something like that, for example. It's a little bit cheeky and it kind of catches people's attention, but let's just play this through. Cool. Actually, I need to, because he ends it, we made him end it a little bit further along. It's a little bit offset, so that we want to make him finish the same point as the line. So let's just put him about here, and bring this line up as well. Put him, yeah, about there. Looks good. And let's just play that through one more time. It looks pretty cool. So you can do that with your logo or like a fire icon, or yeah, an image, whatever you wanted to do. You could, just basically add an image down there. Even if you had a little short video clip, you could probably do something like that as well. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Have fun yourself making progress bars inside CreateStudio. In this video, you're going to learn how to animate any element with just a click using our motion presets. So right now I've just got a shape here, and if you select your element, so whether it be a text layer, an image, a shape, or a video, you can simply select your layer and click on motion. And this is where we've got our motion presets, where you can basically select animations that have already been created for you, and you can add them to your elements and quickly animate anything really fast. So let's say, for example, we want to create a zoom animation, and I'm going to go with elastic scale up. I just simply click on it to preview, and if I want to add it, I simply click on the checkbox, and that adds the animation to the element. So it's as simple as that, just like that. You can also select different animations. So let's say we want to go with something like a bouncing ball. So I could go to slide, and I could go to bounce slide bottom, this one here. If I apply this one to the shape, I can click and preview this, just like that. And you basically select where you want the animation to end. So let's say you want it to end at the bottom, like that. You can also adjust the animation settings. So with your animation selected, you have different types of settings. So this one, I've got it selected. I'm going to click on the settings icon here, and you have to see I've got different options. So I can either remove the fade so that it doesn't fade in. I can also adjust the starting position. So whether I want it to start off the screen, I can just bring it up. I could also choose if I want to start over, certain different sides horizontally as well. So I'm just going to start it like this and click on play. And you see we've got a really nice looking bouncing ball type animation. And you can do this with like a tennis ball or a football, different types of basketballs and things like that as well, and create really cool animations. So once you've got an animation like that, I'm just going to bring this, make it a little bit shorter, and I'm going to go select an out animation. And so it's going to bounce in like this, and then we're going to make it maybe slide, or maybe even distort. Let's go with distort like this, so it's kind of going to squish itself down like that. Okay, cool. So yeah, you can go ahead and just preview all these animations. We're also constantly adding new animations in here in different presets, so you're going to have a massive library of animations. And if you want to learn how to create custom animations, go on to the next video where I'll show you how to custom animate any property inside CreateStudio. In this video, you're going to learn how to create some basic custom animations inside CreateStudio. So you can basically animate anything using motion presets, and these are the most simple way of animating. So you can simply select, for example, slide right, and you just simply clicking on these presets, you can create really cool looking animations. But what we want to do is show you how to create more customized animations to your own liking. So let's go and delete this one. And what I'm going to do is basically drop down these properties, and you'll be able to see we've got this little plus icon. So if I click on that, it means I can add a custom animation. So once I've done that, then I can go through and basically choose the properties that I want to animate. So let's say I want to animate the scale. I'm just going to click on scale right there. And if I just go through and adjust the start point, we can create an animation. So at this point in the timeline, I want my shape to be this size, but I want to make it a bit like 0 basically, and to kind of scale in. So let's go to settings, and I'm going to bring it down to 0. And you'll be able to see when I play this through, now we have that animation. So we could adjust the duration, just drag it out, and you've got that animation like that. And what you can also do is click on this icon, or right click on here and click on easing. And you can go through and choose a different easing type. So we've got linear, which is just like a straight line basically. And we've got power 1. These have like an easing to the beginning and end if you select both, or just to the end if you choose out. You've got an overshoot one, an elastic one, and different types of kind of presets. So let's just choose back for this example. And if I just go and play this through, you can see how it kind of comes up, goes past the size, and then comes back down to the size that we set. So just like that. Now what we can also do is, if we want to adjust some other properties with this animation, we can right click on it, go to animation properties, or just click on the settings icon as well. And let's say we want to also animate the rotation. So I'm going to select rotation, and what I'm going to do is basically rotate it maybe 90 degrees like that. And if I play this through, you can see we've got this really nice looking rotation like that. And we can maybe do 90, minus 90 would look pretty cool too. Let's have a look at this one. Okay, like that. Now I might adjust the size, make it a little bit bigger. So I'll just bring it up and I'll center it like that. And let's preview this one more time. Okay, that's looking really good. So let's say also we want to create some other animations. We can just click on the plus icon, and maybe this time we want to adjust the position. Okay, so let's go and click on position, and what I'm going to do is come to the end where I want it to end, and I'm going to just move this maybe back off the canvas like so. Okay, so let's have a look at this. Okay, cool. So maybe with this one, it's quite an abrupt kind of start. So what I could do is just adjust this easing and go with both. So it adds easing to the in and the out of the animation. So let's just preview that now. And that looks a lot better. Maybe I'd adjust the speed, make it a little bit longer. Like that, okay? So that's just a quick overview of using custom animations. You'll be able to check out some more advanced tutorials on creating advanced animations with our custom presets. One last thing that I would show you as well is the rotation point over here. So by simply changing the rotation point, right now it's rotating at the middle of the object, so you can see it rotates in like that. But I can also go through and, for example, select the bottom corner, and now when it rotates, you'll see it rotates from this point here, okay? So you can create some pretty cool looking animations just by changing up the rotation point. Like that. So that one you probably want to move it across a little bit more. And there we go, we've got a really nice looking animation. So yeah, have some fun trying that out. And yeah, go and watch some other tutorials showing you more advanced things if you want to learn more about creating custom animations.